Okay, good Tavach, everyone. Welcome as we just finished two enormous blot in Masechtas Kedushin, heading down the finish line in Seder Nashim with the fourth parak of Kedushin. And we are also here on the finish line as we're learning the last parak of Seder Mayed in the Mishna Yomis with the last parak of Chagiga. And we have on tap tonight Mishna Gimel and Mishna Dalid in the third parak of Chagiga, sponsored by Rabbi Yisrael Fisher, Lila and family, Lila Nishmas Basi Bas Rabbi Shlomo ben Avraham Alevi, Perel Bas Ruvain, the Neshama should have a lichtige Gan Eden. We also sponsored Lila Nishmas Yaakov Moshe ben Zev for the schus of Avram ben Yomish ben Malki Yudis and family, and the Fush Shalema for Eliyahu Moshe ben Chayesara, by Yoel Klugman and family for their Parnasa Berevach V'Chavon and everything wonderful. For my Shver Avigdor Aye ben Rivka and Meir ben Chayesara, they should have a Refush Shalema. So Mishnah Gimel tells us again a chumrah of kachim over truma. Oichlin acholim neguvim, you could eat dry food biyadayim misayavos with unclean hands batruma. Because we must know that unclean hands, stam yadayim, are sheni. And therefore, you're eating. It's talking about a case where a person has truma in his mouth, and he's eating chulin. Now, since the chulin food, the end of the line by chulin is a sheni, and therefore his hands, which are a sheni, can't do anything to dry chulin, so it can't be metameyit. So even if he puts the food in the mouth with the truma, nothing will happen. However, that's only if the food is dry. If the food is moist, there's a din d'Rabbanan that yadayim shniyas touching liquids could make it a rishon, and then it would convey tumah. So the food has to be dry. Avaloi b'kodesh, but he can't eat with wet hands. He can't eat with hands that are unclean when he has kachim in his mouth, even though he's eating chulin, because we're afraid he might put his hand in his mouth and touch the kachim in his mouth. Ha'onein. An onein is somebody that lost a close relative, le'aleinu, before the body is buried. That's the first stage. It's called aninas. An onein is not allowed to eat kachim. So an onein u'mechusa kippurim, an onein, and one who was lacking atonement. That means that he already, let's say, counted his 7 days if he was a zav, and went to the mikveh, but on the 8th day he has to bring a carbon. Before he brings a carbon, he's known as lacking atonement, and he can't eat kachim. Tzrichen tefillah l'kodesh. After the aninas is over, and after he brings his carbon, he needs to be tovel. Even if he was tovel already on the 7th day, on the 8th day he has to be tovel again. The reason being is since he couldn't eat kachim while he was a mechusa kippurim or while he was an oinen, he might not be careful. And therefore, after he finishes, he has to be tovel again. Avalayla truma, he doesn't have to be tovel for truma, because an oinen is allowed to eat truma. A mechusa kippurim is allowed to eat truma. Now, in the next Mishnah, we're going to learn, actually it's going to be the next 3 Mishnayos, we're going to learn the reverse. We're going to learn cases where truma, surprisingly, is more severe than kachim. Now, the reason would be is because the Amoritz, when it comes to kachim, will give extra precaution than when it comes to truma. So, chaymer b'truma, there's a stringency in truma. Shebi Yehuda, in the district of Yehuda, nemonim al toras yayin v'shemen kol yemois hashana. The din is that in Yehuda, the Amma Oretz is trusted when it comes to the purity of wine and oil for the whole year, because since the wine is used for Nesachim and the oil is used for Menachos, and they know people are buying it for Kachim, and they take Kachim very seriously, so they're trusted if they say they kept the proper Tara the entire year. Ubashas Hagitois Vabadim, at the time of the wine pressing, and at the time of the olive pressing, where everybody is toivel their kalim and be themselves, afala truma. They're believed even about truma, but only during the time of the pressing. For kachim, they're believed the entire year. Ovru agitais vabadim. If let's say the pressing season of the wine, the pressing season of the olives are over, ve'viu lo chavya shel yayin shel truma, and the Amoritz brings a barrel of wine of truma, he can't be trusted because it's not during the season. Lo yekablenu mimenu. But you could tell him, keep it by you, and don't bring it till the next season of pressing. Aval manicha legas haba, he could keep it for the next pressing season, because we have already a takana that at that time the Amaratzim are believed, and therefore if on the next pressing season he said, look, I was careful and it wasn't tummy, then we believe him. The Imam in general, if he says hifrashti l'soicha revias kodesh, that I separated into the barrel of truma a quarter of a lug of wine for kachim, for nesachim, Neman, he's believed, because as we said, on Kachim he's believed. Now, Kade Yayin v'Kade Shemen HaMedumois, if he has jugs of wine and jugs of oil, which are tevel, which are untied, and he says that he has in it that which will be for chulin, that which will be for truma, and that which will be for kachim. So since he has in it also for kachim, nemonim aleim b'shas hagitais v'abadim, he's believed about it to say he was careful, of course at the time of the press of the olives and the grapes, because we said he's believed then, because everybody keeps Tara then. And since he says he has in it that which he's going to separate for kachim, we also believe him 70 days before. B'kaidim legitais, even before the press season, shivim yain, 70 days. We want to thank everybody for joining us. I want to remind you that we are looking for a sponsor for Lech Lecha. Again, we don't have even one sponsor for Lech Lecha for the main share. The way to do that, last week we got 2 sponsors from outside, 718-916-3100, rmmwsi@aol.com. The share is heard on Torah Anytime in 187 countries, on Kalaloshon, YouTube, Facebook, Torah Communications Network, Zoom, digital. Also, remind you to check out all the many shiurim I put on YouTube, and if you go on my YouTube channel, remember to subscribe. Throughout the week this week, Daf Yomi is at 8 o'clock, Chumash here on Wednesday at 9. Thank you for joining us, and have a good Tavach.